Hey guys, Mitko Kazakov, aka the Fitness Consistency Coach here, and today's topic is how to kickstart the fat loss process in order to develop a leaner physique. You're listening to the MK Fitness and Consistency podcast, where we talk about everything that has to do with training, nutrition, recovery, along with all the mindsets that you need to adopt in order to consistently stick to proper training and nutrition practices over the long run, because consistency, guys, is the number one predictor of success. And today we're gonna be talking about how to kickstart the fat loss process, how to lose fat, and how or what the science behind fat loss and weight loss actually is. I'm going to give you a very simple scientific overview of the process of weight loss and how to kickstart it to reveal your abs and muscle definition. So listen up. I decided to do this because through interactions with friends and acquaintances, I've noticed that 99% of people lack a very basic understanding of how fat loss actually works. So I thought, why not explain the science of weight loss in simple terms and plain language, so maybe those of you who aren't lazy-minded and think bread is making them fat will benefit. Anyway, when it comes to weight manipulation, there is one simple principle that you need to learn. And that principle is the principle of energy balance. The principle of energy balance refers to the balance between the energy that you take in the form of food and the energy that you expend through movement along with other bodily processes. Now, here's the key to body weight manipulation. You can go ahead and tattoo this on your arm, guys. If you consume the same amount of calories that you are burning on average, you will maintain your current body weight. If you consume more calories than you burn on average, you will gain weight. And if you consume less calories than you burn on average, you will lose weight. Yes, it is that simple. I repeat, it's that simple, guys. If you want to lose weight, the first thing you need to be preoccupied with is eating less calories than you're burning. Here's a simple scientific overview behind the principle of energy balance. In school, you learned about something called the first law of thermodynamics. It stated that energy can be changed from one form to another, but it cannot be created or destroyed. Meaning that if you consume more energy in the form of calories from food than you burn, the excess energy cannot simply disappear, guys. Instead, it's stored in your body in some form, either muscle, glycogen, fat, whatever. And as you probably realize, if you consume less energy than you burn, your body taps into those stores in order to provide the necessary fuel. And that's how weight loss occurs. I want you to pause for a moment and realize the following. This is hard-coded science, guys. Bodies cannot break the basic laws of physics. If you consume less calories than you burn on average for a prolonged period of time, you will lose weight. There's no way around it, because those calories have to come from somewhere. So you will tap into your stores in order to fuel that activity. Now, here is a caveat to what I'm saying. Your body does not like change. Its main mission is to maintain homeostasis. It wants to stay the same. So when you lower your caloric intake, your body tries to preserve energy by down-regulating, i.e. lowering, something called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT. The energy you expend for everything you do that does not involve sleeping, eating, or sports-like exercise. Basically, you somewhat instinctively start sitting more, moving less, and expending less energy in general. But guys, the extent to which this happens is not all that big. In other words, you can indeed lower your caloric intake below your total daily energy expenditure, even if your body down-regulates NEAT to some extent. So don't worry, it's not a magical force keeping you away from your dream body and from your six-pack abs. You just have to do your cut, meaning your cutting phase, the phase where you're losing fat and weight properly. And what you need to do more specifically, guys, I'm not going to go too in depth into this, but you need to take diet breaks. Or what this means is every 6 to 12 weeks, you need to take 10 to 14 days where you just eat at maintenance, not for weight loss. You need to take diet breaks to let your hormones sync up and upregulate and properly do their job. And that way you will be able to offset the effects of the downregulated need. Another caveat, by the way, is that while you do want to eat less calories than you're burning when your goal is to lose weight, you still need to make sure that you're getting a sufficient amount of protein in your diet. This, along with resistance training, will help you preserve lean muscle tissue while losing mainly fat. You also want to have a sufficient micronutrient intake. Even though micronutrients don't provide energy, guys, they have other vital roles in the body. So when you're cutting, it's very possible that if you don't eat whole unprocessed foods most of the time, and instead you eat junk foods on a lowered caloric intake, you might have problems with your meeting micronutrient needs. Anyway, if you've grasped the idea of energy balance and you want to go on a caloric deficit to lose the fat but don't want to count calories, I suggest you try out my 2-steps nutrition process for fat loss. I will put a link in the description so you can find that, or you can just Google Mitko Kazakov 2-step nutrition process for fat loss, I guess. But anyway, let's go into the role of exercise for fat loss. Now you know that in order to lose fat, you need to consume less calories than you're burning while still maintaining a sufficient protein and micronutrient intake, of course. So since energy balance is a function of energy intake and energy expenditure, it makes sense that in order to go into a caloric deficit, i.e. eating less calories than you're burning, you can either eat less, burn more calories through exercise, or a mix of both. And as fate would have it, a mix of both works best. Studies clearly show that a combination of being on a caloric deficit and regular resistance training leads to greater impact on fat loss compared to just diet or training. As to why to pick resistance training, i.e. lifting weights over other methods like jogging and cardio, not only does resistance training help you preserve lean muscle mass when you're on a caloric deficit, but the more muscle you have, the higher your BMR is. BMR is an acronym for basal metabolic rate, by the way. The amount of calories you burn in a 24-hour period by doing absolutely nothing, i.e. just to exist. That is your BMR. So since muscle burns calories just to exist, increases in lean muscle mass lead to increases in your BMR. So the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn in a resting state. Thus, by having a higher BMR, you won't have to cut your caloric intake as low to get in a caloric deficit. Plus, keeping the muscle mass simply makes you look better and makes you healthier. So when it comes to resistance training program design, what you want to do is focus on the big compound lifts like squats, bench press, rows, military presses, etc. Along with assistance exercises, usually isolation exercises like bicep curls, tricep work, and so on, and some form of cardio, either HIIT or high intensity interval training or conditioning work or steady state cardio like jogging and biking with a slow tempo and so on. But the cardio is just an assistance to the resistance training. Don't just do jogging. Go to the gym and lift weights, and you can add jogging to that. If you're a beginner and you don't know what I'm talking about in terms of program design, your best bet is to just Google 3 days a week to a leaner, more muscular physique plus Mitko Kazakov. Type that into Google and you will get my free resistance training routine. It's neat and it's beginner friendly and it's friendly to people who don't have a lot of free time. So it's only 3 days a week. So get on that. Anyway, in conclusion, congratulations. Now you know more about how weight loss works than literally 99% of the general population. Plus, you know that it's not bread or pasta per se that's making you fat, but rather a combination of a caloric surplus, i.e. eating more calories than you're burning, a lack of exercise, and bad macronutrient ratios. That wasn't so hard, was it? You just need to start eating less calories than you're burning in order to kickstart the fat loss process. Make sure to also to recoup, make sure to still eat a sufficient amount of protein. If you don't know what that is, basically you need to be eating around 0.9 grams of protein per pound of body weight a day, or that is 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight a day. Anyway, hopefully you found this helpful. Of course, make sure to subscribe if you're on YouTube, or make sure to bookmark the podcast. Make sure to rate it highly if you liked it, and follow our upcoming stuff, because it's gonna be even better and it's gonna be helping you all along the way of developing a leaner, more muscular physique. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Mitko for the MK Fitness and Consistency podcast. Until next time.